What's going on, everybody? FYB presents Wise Word Wednesdays, a quick stream to help you get closer to accomplishing your dreams. Listen, I want to start off by saying thank you to each and every person who took the time just to be watching this particular live stream. I'm super appreciative of it, and I hope that that you're able to gain some knowledge or insight or wisdom or just encouragement to go on throughout your day. Um, I also want to say thank you for anyone that's been watching for these past couple of weeks. I super appreciate it. And then lastly, I want to say if you have not already done so, please hit that subscribe button. Subscribe to the Wise Word Wednesday show, so that way I can keep continuously giving you content and you can get notifications whenever we come up with some new information or new content. I'm also asking that if you can to hit that like button and leave a comment if you feel super compelled to. My goal is to get you some Wise Word Wednesdays each and every week on a Wednesday. Of course, you know that we've been doing Wise Word Wednesdays. If you haven't been paying attention, we've been doing Wise Word Wednesdays every single week since 2017. And so my goal with creating this new version of Wise Word Wednesday, the show, is to kind of give you a more extended version of that, right? To be able to give you more content about Wise Word Wednesdays and to provide you with some more insight. And a lot of it will be people's experience in their particular career paths or what they're doing and in their lifestyle so that you can gain some insight. But today is not going to be one of those days where I have a guest, and mainly because it's the day before Thanksgiving, right? So a lot of people are traveling, a lot of people are doing a variety of different things with their time right now. Some people are, hanging out with loved ones, and that's super dope. I'm definitely one for that. I know tomorrow I'm going to be heading, I'm saying, to the Bay to go kick it with my family as well too. And of course, get some of that good cooking, a good meal. You know what I'm saying? So definitely I can understand that, and I don't want to put any pressure with anyone that has a short time or anything like that. So today is going to be another one of those impromptu sessions, except this time I'm not going to have the Instagram live. I'm just going to be doing just this live. We are going live on Facebook. We are live on YouTube. We're live on Twitter, but we're not live on Instagram. And just because I know that with Instagram, it's a little bit more challenging. Well, not challenging. It's still pretty cool. I really like it, but I just didn't choose to do that today because of it being close to Thanksgiving and things like that. And I know that a lot of people have a lot of things going on, and I don't want to be a distraction on, setting up the Instagram and all that type of stuff, because it can be a lot. But that's all a nice way to say I was just being lazy. But no, seriously, I do want to talk a little bit about, and this is going to be a pretty short show, but I wanted to talk to you all about today's wise word that I mentioned earlier. So, like I mentioned, we've been doing Wise Word Wednesdays every week since 2017. So this is the extended version of it that we just started about a couple weeks ago, or a couple months ago now. But today's wise word that I posted on my Instagram, which is typically usually about a minute and a half long or so. Today's wise word was check on your mans. And so I chose that to be the title of this episode as well, to talk about more of men's mental health. Now, if you didn't get a chance, I did an interview last week with Levante Hill, who is a social worker, but does a lot of mental health work, and it's really, really cool. So check out that episode if you can. That episode premiered last week. I actually recorded it 2 weeks ago, but it premiered last week. So if you haven't done so, please check out that episode as well. But I chose this to be Check on Your Mans because November is Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. And I think that given the time that we are in right now, there are a lot of people who struggle with mental health issues. For example, I'm currently reading a book that I would encourage a lot of people to read. This is a book that's called Solutions for Anti-Black Misandry, Blackness, and Black Male Death. It says The Black Masculinist Turn. Ain't that something? The Black Masculinist Turn. This is by Dr. Tiasan Johnson. He is a professor at Fresno State University, so California State University, Fresno. It's a school in Fresno, California, university. And he talks just about, Black masculinity, and he talks about a lot about some of the negative effects of the different movements that we've had across America, and how it's impacted Black Black men specifically. Oftentimes, Black men have been ignored through data, through movements, through systemic change. And so this book does a really good job of breaking that down, of talking to or talking about ways that systemically we need to improve or address some of the things that our Black males have experienced, our Black men have experienced throughout our society. So the reason why I'm bringing that up today is because, again, with it being Black or not Black, with it being Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, I haven't seen much information about that. And a lot of that has to do with men's fault, right? Like, we have to take accountability and responsibility for the fact that we're not promoting this enough. We're not doing enough work or talking about it enough, about how men's mental health is important, raising awareness on men's mental health, where as there's a lot of other different movements where we can constantly see that they get a lot of notoriety and attention. So I want to encourage us to do a little bit more focusing or more detail or more promotion on men's mental health awareness. And with this being the day before Thanksgiving, I thought it was interesting to read a small passage, from just read some data that I gathered from this book that talks a little bit about some things in regards to how the suicide rates for Black men and Black women. It says, in fact, in terms of suicide, 4,473 Black females have died from 1999 to 2020, while 29,735 Black males have. So when we talk about when we talk about men's mental health, and we talk about specifically Black men's mental health over the past 21 years, or for in this 21-year study, you've got nearly 30,000 Black men that have committed suicide. And oftentimes when you look at data that talks about the suicide rate and suicidality, I think is it suicidality or suicidality? Yeah, there we go. It's times like this where people are amongst loved ones, where people are amongst those that they care the most about, amongst genuine, beautiful energy. These are times where the suicide rates typically rise. And there's over 200,000 unhoused or homeless, however you choose to categorize it, over 200,000 Black men that fit this criteria, even though they only make up 6% of the population in the country. So when you look at the numbers, the data, that you can see that our Black men have been struggling in a variety of different ways, and mental health being one of them. And so the reason why I made today's Wise Word Wednesday check on your mans is because I want you to enjoy the time with your family. I want you to have a great time. I want you to be with loved ones. I want you to have that energy to eat some home cooking, right? To do all those great things. But I also want you to take a moment to reach out to maybe that dude that is going through something, or maybe not even going through, that you may know of. You may not know that they're going through something, but just reach out to that dude that that God put on your heart, and just say, hey man, I just want to say happy Thanksgiving. Hey man, I just want to let you know that I love you. Hey man, I just want you to know that I appreciate you. Hey bro, I just want you to know that you mean something to me. And don't just do it for the people that are going through things, but also do it for the people that you think aren't going through anything, because you have no idea what people are going through when they're dealing with life. And there are people who may have the strength to push forward, but they may not have the strength to open up to their friends about what they're going through. So check on the people that you know are suffering and telling you about it, and also check on the people who are suffering in silence. So it's really, really important, because this time is where a lot of those numbers start to rise, because people are feeling alone. People may not have families to go to for Thanksgiving. People may not have a great meal for Thanksgiving, or people may not be able to provide the lifestyle that they want for their families during Thanksgiving. And so it's super it's real. And even though it might not be a reality for you, it's a reality for thousands of men out there, and many, many uh, more than just black, right? When we talk about, amongst all ethnicities, I mean, there are, tons of them, right? Hundreds of thousands of people that are out there that are struggling during this time. And so the reason I encourage you again to check on your mans is because we don't know what they're going through, but people are going through something. And this it means something to me, and I'll probably talk more about this next week during the Wise Word Wednesday show. But I had a bro, like somebody that I consider to be a brother, was impacted by, just impacted negatively, right? Like that took his life during this time of the year. And it caused me to really ask myself, like, what didn't I do, right, to check on him? What didn't I do to support him? What didn't I do to be there? Why was I not able to help lift him up in his time of need? And so it's a real thing for me, and I'll talk more about this, like I said, next week, because it'll be closer to that anniversary. um but I just want to encourage you, man. There are people that are out there that are going through it in silence. And with this being, Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, we can't forget that a lot of those people are men, because our society has this expectation for men to be the strong guy, for men to be the tough guy, for men to be able to carry whatever weight, whatever load, whatever stress, uh whatever traumatic experience that life has to bring us. As men, we're expected to carry that, and we're expected to carry that uh in silence. We're expected to carry that, like, humbly, right? We're expected to like not talk about your issues, because then you're seen as weak, and then you're judged, and you're not rewarded because of that, and things like that. um and it's not a fun thing. As a man, I can say, like, it's not something that's fun, and I know that it's the expectation, and we do it because that's just what our expectation is, and nobody's coming to rescue us. Nobody's coming to save us. I can't go back and be like, oh well, I'll just marry somebody rich and I'll be fine. I could just, that'll get rid of my struggles. Or I can't say, like, oh well, I'm going to go back and live with mommy and daddy. Like, no, like, it just doesn't happen. Our society doesn't allow men to have those kind of backup plans, that other that maybe women might have, and that's okay, because I know that there are some benefits that men have that women might have. But I encourage people to read this book by Dr. T. Hassan Johnson, because he does break down how Black men specifically might have a different perception, or a different experience, than what the perceived benefits of masculinity is, and what the perceived benefits uh, of this patriarchal society is. So I would just encourage everybody to read that book if you can. But not even just that, it's, again, men are suffering, and and it is something that we must fix, because there's this saying, and I can't remember if I said it on a previous episode or not, but I definitely think it's important to reiterate if I did say it. There's a saying that I heard it from a video that was on, it went viral a couple years ago, but it basically said that strong men create good times. Good times create weak men. Weak men create tough times. Tough times create strong men. So I think right now we're in that stage of tough times in regards to how men are, right? How men, especially black men, are suffering in our society in a plethora of ways. I mean, it is not just one way, it's a whole conundrum, right? Like it's crazy. But I'm trying to think if conundrum was the right adjective to use for that. It's there's a variety of suffrage that men have faced and been neglected in regards to benefits in our society. But again, I just encourage you all to check on the men that you know that are in your circle, or that maybe you might see on social media, or maybe that you might pass through at your job. Check on those men, because even though they might not say it, the weight of the world is on their shoulders. They have to do a variety of things to be successful, to be appreciated, to be loved. And many of them are doing all the things that they need to do to feel this, but they don't feel it because society doesn't value what they're doing in that sense, right? Like right now, we have this hyper focus ideology. And I talked about this in my Wise Word Wednesday last week. I'm talking about the social media Wise Word Wednesday, not the show. But I talked about this hyper focused or hyper ideology of the boss. Everybody has to be, you got to be a millionaire or you suck, right? You got to have 7 streams of income or you suck. You got to be, able to fire people, or if you got somebody that's able to fire you, then you're unaccomplished and you're nothing. And the crazy part of that is that we're downplaying, or we're minimizing the experience of million, not even, a couple 100 million people, right? We're minimizing their experience because of the idea that we all can be X, right? We all can be Y, we all can be whatever, and it's just not the case. Like, there is a very, very small percentage of people who have $1 million. There's a small percentage of people who have $1 billion. There's a small percentage of people who make $100,000. But the way that people talk about it, it makes it seem like as if, oh, anybody can do that. When in reality, it's like the numbers say that if you're making $100,000, you are of the small percentage of people as an individual. Now, if you're making it from a household, that's different. But again, it's still, I'm just saying that their their experience, I'm talking about going back to men now, their experience has been minimized to a point or to an extent where they don't feel valued as a human being. They don't feel valued and respected. And mind you, these are your everyday people. These are your teachers. These are your plumbers. These are your electricians. These are your carpenters, your contractors, your lawnmowers, your grocery baggers, you know what I mean? These are your librarians. These are, you know what I mean, your principals. These are people who have day to day 9 to 5 jobs, and they're treated as if they're subhuman. They're treated as if they're subpar, or as if they're less than, because they don't own their own construction company, or they don't have a PhD, or they're, all these different things, or they don't make, $2 million a year, or they don't have 7 streams of income. It's like, we have to learn um, that everybody is valued. I value the plumber just as I value my doctor. You know what I'm saying? Like, I value them both because they both contribute to making my life easier in a variety of ways. So even if you don't have a tech company where you designed a multi-million dollar, or multi-billion dollar company, or app, or phone, or whatever, or streaming, any of those things, it doesn't make you less qualified, or um, less important. Because if you get rid of the teachers, you get rid of the carpenters, you get rid of the electricians, you get rid of the plumbers, you get rid of the fast food workers, you get rid of, all these different jobs that people are looking down on, and what do you have? You have chaos. You have a collapsed economy. You have uh, a lot of violence, because people will not have enough to uh, to sustain themselves. You get a third world country. When you take away all these jobs, all these opportunities that are helping contribute to people making a living, it's not okay. And so again, with this being, excuse me, thank you. Sorry. But with this being, men's mental health awareness month, and with me seeing so little information about that, which is crazy to me, right? This is crazy that, I've seen so much about, like, pet day and national pet day and national sibling day, and that, and all these other different days. I've seen so much on domestic violence. I've seen, all these different things that are important as well. Um, but I haven't seen much about men's mental health awareness. And it could be because of my algorithm, right? Maybe my algorithm is so messed up that it just doesn't show that men's mental health awareness is something that's important. But I don't know. I just think that it's not okay that I haven't seen much of it. And I'm a person who has a history of going into these things, right? Looking into information about the male's experience, the black male's experience, research about it. Like, these are things that are important to me, and that I've done research on my same phones, with the algorithm. So the fact that it's not showing up to me, I can only imagine how little it's showing up to other people, who don't have as much experience, or aren't as in depth about, their research, and getting information. So I just want to tell you, check on your mans, because your mans be struggling, right? Like, the people that you don't even know of, they are, or not know of, the people that you don't even think of are struggling, right? The man that walks by you every day, that says what's up, that may smile, that may walk in confidence, that person, you have no idea, that person could be struggling, right? So check on your mans, check on those strong people, check on those people who might seem that everything is great, but in reality, it's not. In reality, like, I remember when I was going through a very, very down time in my life, and it took one person who came up to me, who just said, "Hey," because they had heard about my situation, because it was quite known at the time of what I was going through. Uh, and they was like, "Can I just give you a hug?" It was this person who I actually looked up to, who I saw as this amazing, dope, like, creative, artistic, intelligent person, this great being. And I just felt seen at that time. I felt valued. I felt like, wow, like, and I said yes. You know what I'm saying? And that literally changed or shifted the trajectory of what my life became, because of that one moment. And at that time, I was suffering in silence. At that time, I was not talking to people the way I should. I was not telling people about what I was going through internally. I was externally, people could kind of tell, but internally, it was significantly worse than what I would show. Why? Because I knew at the time I still had things to do. Like, I was a student at the time. I still had classes to go to, even though I was barely going to them. I wasn't showing up in most of my classes. I had, I had practice, And I was going hard at practice because that was kind of the way to release and giving it all I can. But I was a walking zombie, and people who can understand that, they can, they can, if you can relate to it, you can see that it's possible, right? It's possible why people are, you know, getting rid of, uh, how can I committing suicide. It's the reason it's possible that people are committing suicide because they're going through so much internally and they're not talking to anybody about it. They're not releasing. They're not venting to anybody because nobody wants to hear about their problems. If a man gets online and starts talking about his issues and starts crying, on everybody gonna say, "Oh, you sucker, like you weak, are you terrible?" You know what I'm saying? And I don't necessarily agree that going online and expressing all of your emotions is the most healthiest thing to do either. I think that, but definitely therapy, I encourage that. But I would much rather you go online and talk about yourself than to commit suicide. I would much rather you cry online like Tyrese than to kill yourself. I think you should, you know, have healthy ways of expressing yourself. And I don't think that those are the only two options. Trust me, there are plenty more in between those. But I'm just saying that, if you're going through something, get help. And I just want to encourage you that there is help out there. I don't know who's going to hear this. I don't know who's going to watch this. I know we're live right now on Facebook and YouTube and Twitter, but I don't know if anybody's on right now. But just understand, I don't know if you're listening through Spotify, right? But, whether you're listening through Apple Podcasts, but I want you to know that I love you. I appreciate you for listening. I appreciate you just for being you. And there's a page that I follow. It's called Affirmations for Black Men. I think that's the name of it. But there's this girl, and she goes online every single day. She's done this for over 380 days consistently, where she provides affirmations specifically to Black men. So this is a beautiful page. I love it. I listen to them whenever I'm feeling down. I can go on that page and I know I can get some positive words of affirmation. I know I can get some encouraging words, or just I know that I can feel like someone genuinely cares about me aside from what they can get. You know what I'm saying? Aside from what they can get from me, I feel like she was doing speaking to the being of who I am, and the essence of who I am. And not from a way of like, I'm saying this because I want to be able to take what you have and use it for me. It's more of just like, hey, I acknowledge your value. Simply put. You know what I'm saying? I think that's just a dope thing. So this is not going to be a too much long of an episode. I appreciate you all for taking the time to listen. But take that time, man, to check on your mans. You know what I'm saying? You never know what they're going through. You never know what their experience is. So take the time to check on your mans to see if they okay. I'm about to get off this thing because the Golden State Warriors are playing tonight. I'm about to check out that game. And I hope that you all have a happy Thanksgiving. I hope that you all spend some time with loved ones and get some good food. But reach out if we all, there's over 120 million black. I'm sorry, not 120 million black. There's over 120 million men, in this country. If we all reached out and touched another man, it could change a lot. It could change a lot. So I just encourage you all to do that. If we all reached out to one man, it could do a lot because people are suffering. They're going through it and they need your help. They need my help. And so if we just do a little bit of work, if everybody does a little bit, nobody has to do a lot. So FYB presents Wise Word Wednesdays. Check on your mans. I'm going to leave you with something that I always do. Leave you with a We Fresh. And I love you. Go Dubs.